Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's edition of the Maconi Setup Shop AFix Tutorials. This week we are dancing with the lady in black, so strap in and let's get to it. What an incredible challenge that this presents. As always, shifting. I think you're going to be shifting into fifth gear going down the front straightaway every lap, and you're definitely going to be downshifting into fourth going into turn three every lap. I don't want to rule out the possibility of possibly using fourth and third if the run is late enough and the speeds drop off a bunch. It's possible. I mean, you can run third gear right now. You're just chipping on exit, so I don't want to rule out the possibility of it long run. Just something to keep in mind. But throughout the entire run, I did a 30 lap earlier, and I low key thought about trying to use third, but I was still doing fourth to fifth and fifth to fourth. Another important thing, these first couple laps here are incredibly challenging on new tires. The lack of grip is incredible. The car at times feels gripped up and ready to go, and then out of nowhere, it's gone. All of a sudden, all the grip is just gone, and I find that I'm off the gas completely, just trying not to hit the wall. More noticeable in 1 and 2. 3 and 4, because it's so slow, you can manage it a lot better, but 1 and 2 is so intense and so high speed. That you really got to be paying attention and feeling what the car is giving you. Otherwise, you'll find yourself pancaking the wall really quickly. Speaking of 1 and 2, there's a few ways to get through there. It just depends on what you're comfortable with. The closer you can get to the wall, the faster you're going to be. Okay, it's hard to make passes here. If you have a nose ahead of somebody and you are trying to make the pass, by all means try to make it work. If you are getting past, I would suggest just about anywhere on this racetrack, back off and give it up. Okay? This place is incredibly tough to race side by side. 1 and 2 is a disaster to try to go side by side with, okay? More often than not, you're going to see the guy on the outside slam into the wall because there's just not a lot of grip up there. Or you're going to see the guy on the bottom drive up and ultimately door the guy on the outside, getting him stuck in the wall, and that's when a crash happens. Okay. To get through 1 and 2, I always like to aim for the white line. I'm not so sure how good it is with this car and this setup. I know all the laps I've been doing in the truck for the Road to Pro race, I've been kind of running the same line in this as the truck. Um, I feel like I'd want to adjust it to run a little wider in this car, and I'll explain why. The corner speed that you carry is determined by how you enter turn one. Okay, so when you enter on that line like I am, you're letting the car drift up. You have to slow your corner speed down so that you don't hit the wall. Okay, if you were to arc it later, so essentially you're missing the white line. You just start your entry a little later. You crank a little more wheel into it to get it to turn, but you're carrying more center speed. Okay, it's a thing that I've seen a few guys doing in the past that it looks good. I don't know what it does for their tires, but this is what I'm comfortable with, so this is what I'm showing you. Okay, um, to set up the exit for turn two, when we go to the in-car in a few laps, I'm going to show you the reference point I use, and I'll try to explain what I mean when I say turning off the Coke sign. Um, for now, turn three, you'll notice as you go down the back straightaway, the wall is nice and straight, and then it kind of opens up a little bit. Okay, I like to lift either where that wall opens up, or depending on how my tires are feeling, I like to lift before it. Okay, you're not trying to carry a big arc, but you want to arc it a little bit. Essentially, you're trying to make the car get to the white line as straight as possible. Okay, so kind of like you've been watching me do this run. I'm not taking a big wide arc, a late apex, or anything like that. I'm just trying to be as smooth as I can to get the car to the white line. That's where all the grip is. Unfortunately, we can't run the wall like we used to in 3 and 4. That's back when I think Darlington was truly Darlington on this sim. It was unbelievable to get up against the fence. You cannot do that anymore. I promise you there is no grip. Okay, I did a couple laps up there earlier. I was over 3/10 off. There is absolutely nothing, and exit is treacherous because there's even less grip. Okay. So as we complete the external view, we're going to stop and go to the in-car, and I'm going to run a few laps for you guys so we can talk about it again. Into fifth, let the car come up to the wall, and then right here, this Coca-Cola sign that we just passed, that's what I try to turn off of, okay? So when I see that come into my field of view, it's hard to explain because I'm always looking ahead, right? Like as I'm doing these laps, like I'm looking uh, in the top left of my screen almost because I'm looking ahead. But when that Coca-Cola sign gets into my field of view, that's what I'm trying to turn off of, okay? That's my reference point. I don't use reference points very often, but this track is incredibly tricky, so over the years you kind of learn how to time things, because if you're a little late on your apex, you're going into the fence. But if you're a little early, you're going to hit the apron. You know you've cut it early. There's enough time to lift off the gas and give yourself that cushion to the wall. Okay, turn two, you really want to feel like you're exiting down the track. You don't really want to feel like you're exiting coming up to the wall. Okay, because that's when things can get out of hand and get a little sketchy and you hit the fence. Okay, so watching here, you're going to see as the nose of the car, you always want to feel like you're pointing down and you want to exit about where those lines are, okay? It's a little tight, I know, but that's the general idea. And then again in three, you see where the wall extends. That's where we're lifting, getting onto the gas as smooth as possible, okay? You don't want to spin the rear tires here, I promise. Okay guys, real quick, a couple things to go over. I know I talk about it in almost every other video. The importance of being patient. Patient with cars around you and patient with your inputs. Okay, 3 and 4 especially, you don't want to rush the gas, pretend that there's an egg under that accelerator and you don't want to crack it and break it. It's incredibly important to keep your tires under you. Okay, this track is very, very difficult by yourself while you have a lot of grip. It is 10 times more hard when you have other cars on the racetrack and you burn your tires off. Okay, the secret to being good around here is patience. Take care of your stuff. Don't race the competition, race the racetrack. Okay, I touched on it earlier. Passing here is incredibly difficult. It's even harder to run side by side with somebody here. Okay, if you're getting passed, let it go. Okay, you either get it back or you don't. It's much better to give up a position than trying to race somebody in the corner, especially 1 and 2, and damaging your car by getting into the wall. Okay, you can run side by side in 3 a little bit. The middle is okay, but you're still going to get past. There's just not a lot of grip. Okay, so it's better to just give the position up, get back in the preferred line, and give up as little time as possible. Okay guys, that'll do it for this week's video. If you find that it was helpful, as always, please consider leaving a like. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or want to touch on something I may have missed or that you're curious about, please leave a comment down below and I will answer them. And lastly, if you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you can see these videos every Monday when they're posted on the Maconi YouTube page. Alright guys, best of luck this week, take care of it, and we'll see you out on the track.